Every monster we have seen in Netflix's Resident Evil explored. Imagine a video game series so terrifying that it ended up inspiring an entire live-action movie series. Add to that television adaptations, animated flicks, along with comic books, audio dramas, and plenty of other merchandise. No wonder Resident Evil categorically comes under the highest grossing horror franchise list. Well, one of the primary reasons why the Capcom video game series has been so successful is solitarily because of its terrifying quotient, which is a total 10 on 10. There is a horde of horrors that the players are pitted against, and mind you, they are not just zombies. It is only fair to call the monsters on display abominations, and not just any, but ones that are bioengineered and have gotten loose, furthermore transmitting infection to the rest of the population. What is common amongst all of them is the sole fact that they have this particular inclination towards sinking their teeth into all things fleshy. Well, gear yourselves up for today's nightmarish video, one that is bound to scare the living daylights out of you. We will be exploring every mutated monster from Andrew Dabb's Resident Evil Season 1, which is officially streaming right now on Netflix. You ready? Let's do this. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Giant zombie crocodile. Of course, this tops our list here. We know crocodiles and alligators are more like a staple thing when it comes to the games, but this here is utterly terrifying. The last episode of the first season, titled Revelations, began with Jade and Amrita working at the university with a lizard that the former found on a beach in Cyprus. Jade had implanted an electrode into its thalamus to deliver a focused ACT pulse, or in simple words, to put it to sleep only to wake it up earlier at her will. Jade eventually decided to go bigger to make things more interesting, and voila! We have a giant zombie crocodile, one that's pretty much ready to wreck and roll. We first get a glimpse of the creature, aka the monstrous secret weapon of the university, tethered to the back of the ship. With Billy gone rogue, the university is left with no choice but to awaken and unleash this gigantic monster. The purpose was to put a stop to Umbrella, even if it was just for the time being. The colossal beast makes a grand entry. The earth beneath is literally seen to rumble, and before you know it, the monster appears, letting out a huge roar. What we have here is a gigantic, scaly creature that looks 10 times deadlier than an otherwise scary-looking crocodile. The aim of the creature is pretty simple: maul everyone to death in its vicinity. Even the powerful drones seem to have no effect on the creature. While some of the drones get knocked down by the crocodile thanks to its whipping tail, the others end up straight crushed inside its toothy mouth. However, a sudden grenade attack from Billy is able to frighten the creature, and it is seen to dive back into the water. Of course, the crocodile isn't done yet and comes back on the shore and starts going after Jade's daughter. Yeah. It is almost as close to eating her up when it decides not to, and instead calms down and rests right next to her. One look at it and you will actually feel like it wants to be petted. Clearly there's some kind of a connection between Bia and the monster. After all, Jade is a scientist, and it is highly possible that she sort of tampered with Bia's genetics, but to confirm that, we have to wait for Season 2. Anyway, coming back to Bia and her bonding moment with the crocodile, it is kind of cute, but the whole thing eventually gets ruined by Billy firing at the creature with explosives, and mind you, all kinds. While Bia is able to escape, the crocodile doesn't survive. Giant mutant caterpillar. Before we get into this, it is important for you to know that Season 1 keeps jumping between two specific timelines: 2036, which is 14 years after the end, and 2022, 3 months before the end. The giant mutant caterpillar graces Jade along with us viewers with its presence in the 2036 timeline in the very first episode, titled Welcome to New Raccoon City. Here Jade is seen to be on some kind of a solo mission, studying the Zeros, watching them change and evolve. During one of her testing missions, she accidentally cuts herself, thereby indicating her presence to the Zeros. It is an intense chase between the Zeros and Jade, with the latter finally able to incapacitate the group by deliberately drawing them inside a certain ring of fire. That's basically her backup weapon, which incinerates the zombies to their death. However, unbeknownst to Jade, her activities end up catching the attention of something way bigger and deadlier. Well, when it concerns a post-apocalyptic wasteland, you know it is bound to be populated by all things undead and mutated. Right now, we are specifically talking about the nasty Titanic mutated caterpillar, one that emerges from beneath the surface and goes right after Jade to satiate its hunger pangs. It is the ear-piercing screeching of the creature that does most of the damage. Besides, it is looking obnoxiously terrifying and colourfully creepy. A closer look at the creature and you will find it does have a lot of sharp antennae on its body and teeth protruding out of its gaping mouth. It's the teeth that the creature makes use of to attack Jade, catch her by one of her legs, lift her up and slam her down roughly onto a car, making Jade unconscious. No points for guessing that this is the T-virus that has infected this insect, triggering rampant cell growth and causing it to become humongous and vicious at the same time. While it is not seen to spit any kind of venom, it surely does dribble some kind of a claggy secretion. Had it not been for a few scavengers who were passing through the area, Jade would have been surely the creature's first meal of the day. Giant spider. Here is a basic thing about spiders. They are downright creepy, no matter what size they appear in. Now imagine a spider nightmarishly giant, one that is close enough to making you pee in your pants. Well, the third episode titled The Light has Jade aiding a small group of survivors into the tunnel, and while it is true that the group is able to hide themselves from the lickers who hunt basically by sound, that does not really put an end to their troubles. If it is an apocalyptic world that one is dealing with, you have to be prepared for the kind of dangers one after the other. It is only fair for a gargantuan-sized black spider to make the creepiest entrance possible and pursue after them. Also known as the Black Tiger, who pretty much happens to be a staple when it comes to the games, this giant spider here ambushes the group inside the service tunnels. Quite sneaky for a spider. The creature strategically takes care of the group one after the other. It is shown to wait for its victims, wanting them to come towards it. Hell, it's even shown to rip one of the survivors in half, proving us viewers that it is anything but ordinary. The giant spider is absolutely merciless with its kills. It likes to hunt and torment its victims before it strikes them. Thank God for Jade, who after quite a bit of difficulty is finally able to kill the giant creature, hammering it down with some kind of a machine. Mother Zero. Also addressed as Lorraine, the Queen of the Zombies, this one here is introduced to us in the fourth episode titled The Turn, when Jade and Baxter are taken as prisoners by the Brotherhood. It is while sharing an underground prison cell with Baxter that Jade first sees Mother Zero and realizes that she is capable of controlling all the other Zeros, thereby indicating signs of a higher brain functioning. To call her creepy will be a complete understatement. She loves to munch on the body parts that are given to her by the Chainsaw Man. It's more like the Chainsaw Man cutting up prisoners and feeding the body parts to the Queen and the other zombies. We are glad that the Queen is seen meeting her very end in the hands of Jade, who decides to chainsaw the former's head off and carry the decapitated head for further research.
Please, we're not going to hurt you.
Lisa Trevor. Identical to a video game counterpart, Lisa Trevor is shown here as a test subject of Umbrella. It is in the fifth episode titled Home Movies, where we get to catch a glimpse of Lisa after young Jade and Billy are seen taking tech help from Simon and break into their father's laptop, which of course leads the duo making a nightmarish discovery. Albert's laptop shows a video footage of Lisa chained up, hideously distorted with a giant eyeball on her very back. While the game has Lisa contaminated with the G-virus, there are no mentions of it in the series. Coming back to Lisa's appearance in the series, her face is seen to be hidden, or should we say masked, by fleshes of her previous victims. She also looks pretty hunched back and in a lot of pain given the number of biological experiments that she had to undergo. No wonder it is the side effects of the experiments which have contributed to her extreme levels of mutations. Resident Evil fans can only hope to see more of this character getting unfolded in the coming season. Lickers. They are categorically one of the most iconic and creepiest creatures to exist in the Resident Evil franchise and are seen gracing us with their dreadful presence in the 3rd episode. While these creatures are primarily known to hunt via sound, one look at these vicious monsters, we are stressing on the exposed brains, razor-sharp claws, extensively elongated tongues, and it's not possible to not let out a shriek. Dare you do that, you invite your own death. The whole scene with the Lickers is undisputably one of the high points of the entire series. They are merciless, they love to massacre, and mind you, they will not hold themselves back. They have this affinity towards either decapitating their prey or simply impaling them. Also, the fact that these dreadful rattling creatures are shown to hunt in packs here raises the fear factor notches higher. These are certainly not the ones to be taken lightly at all. The infected Doberman. The scene that we have all been waiting for. You can't have Resident Evil without an infected Doberman. That's strictly against the rules. Shown in the climax of the 1st episode, the sisters are seen to encounter a pretty gnarly one. It also happens while Billy's beginning to have her doubts about Umbrella doing animal testing after she sees a bunch of bunnies being taken in the facility basement. Of course, she is against the whole thing. A, she's vegan, and B, it is disgusting. With her sneaking into the Umbrella office along with Jade, she decides to gather evidence on the locked up animals. However, while taking a picture of what seems to be a whimpering dog initially, she triggers the animal with a camera flash, causing it to become feral. With the Doberman in clear view, it becomes pretty evident to the sisters that it is infected. Its skin is desiccated, it is secreting, and to top things further, the dog does not even look like a dog anymore. Forget behaving like one. If you ask us, it looked frenzied, erratic, and like it wanted to attack. While it is true that the sisters are able to get away from the vicious beast for the time being, they eventually find themselves locked inside the facility. There comes a part when the Doberman is seen to jump right out from a glass window before it ends up violently attacking Billy and sinking its teeth into her flesh. Had Jade not hit the animal with a fire extinguisher that she found nearby, there is a fair chance that Billy would have succumbed to her injuries right then and there. Looking at Billy's wounds later, the infected Doberman did leave her some pretty nasty ones. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.